Well, it's just about time for the men's compound bronze medal match here in Istanbul at the 8th Conquest Cup. It's rather unusual, but it is live sport. Chris Wells, you're here with me for this tournament. It is a little strange.
Absolutely, but we've got some live archery back on the cards. A little bit odd to see people with masks, social distancing. That we just saw some guys in hazmat suits go out and disinfect the shooting area and the targets. But yeah, very, very cool to get back on that track towards competition, towards live sports. Very glad to be able to show this event from Turkey.
You certainly are. The athletes are coming out onto the shooting line now. Two athletes that we know on the world stage, that's for sure, and perhaps a little bit of a surprise that they're shooting for bronze and not gold. Here they are. It is an archery tournament, but perhaps not quite as we know it, but the format is pretty much as we do know it. 15 arrows over a 50-meter range, shot in 5 ends of 3 arrows. Target 1 on the left will be shot at first. And it is an accumulative score. So here we go. Evren Kairan versus Suleiman Arash. And it will be Kairan to shoot first. Solid first arrow, but making a small adjustment. An even better start there from Aras. Chris, this is great. As you said, we're getting live sport back for the first time. But these two archers in particular will be having one eye on Olympic qualification, which was postponed, halted temporarily, hopefully, by COVID-19. How important is shooting on a range like this, live on television, for these two archers?
Well, these two won't be looking for Olympics, obviously, because it's compound bow. But the guys coming up later in the recurve discipline, their whole world was changed, particularly in Turkey, because they didn't qualify places at the main qualifier last year. There were supposed to be the Europeans in Antalya, actually around about now, which is where they had the opportunity to qualify their first places. And then we were supposed to be going to Berlin in a month's time to finish off that Olympic qualification. Both of these events have now been postponed, and hopefully we'll be back in 2021.
Yeah, but it's crucial, isn't it, that these archers get this opportunity. Great start, as we can see, from Aras shooting a perfect 30 in the first end and taking a 2-point lead. But it really is important for these archers to get back into competition mode.
Yeah, and we were speaking to Göktuğ, the coach of the Turkish team, for the seminar that we're running this weekend, this Sunday on athlete preparation and the winning attitude. And something he says there about organising competitions at all levels. I mean, they can organise competitions internally in their training camp, but they're still allowed to practice together, the national team. But it's not the same. It's not the same as having external people coming in and compete. It's not the same as having TV stations show it. And you need that to kind of build up that under pressure ability to deliver arrows.
Yeah, so critical. I mean, in simple terms, archery is a fairly simple sport. You shoot the center of the target and get the highest score. But the nature of competition brings in all the psychology. It is Aras who's taken a 2-point lead after the first end. So Evren Kairan will shoot first in the second, trailing by 2. Well, a little wide. This time right. Well, a bit of an adjustment there from Kairan, but still a 9. So another opportunity here for Suleiman Aras to open up his lead. On the line, but I fancy that may well be a 10.
Dealing very well with the wind. You can just see those flags behind everyone and how much they're moving.
The last arrow, the best from Kairan. A little bit of a pull there, and that one looks like it may have gone a tiny bit wide, but it could be another perfect score for Suleiman Aras. Chris, you talked about the conditions. I noted a little bit earlier that the conditions seem to be changing down the range, so it could be a little bit blustery right at the shooting line, calm down a little bit in the middle, and then get a little bit blustery at the end. How on earth do the archers cope with that?
Despite the fact there's no spectators at this event, they have done a really good job with the arena. There's that huge back branding wall, and then they've got this kind of tent over the top of the archers. And, you know, all of these constructions, they change the flow of the wind. And we said earlier that these guys are on top of a hill in Istanbul, so there is wind, and there is a lot of wind, especially when it gets hot and the airflow comes off the Bosphorus. Understanding that kind of wind conditions and how they move and making a decision where to aim for each shot is one of the key things in compound archery and in winning matches. You know, you've got to pick your spot to aim at, and you've got to deliver a good shot, and it's not easy at all.
It certainly isn't, and Kairan is the one that's suffering the most. A perfect 60 so far from Suleiman Aras. He leads after 2 ends, so it will be Evren Kairan who will shoot first again, staring down at the barrel of the gun here, 5 points behind after 2. Both shooting 9s for their first arrow. And you have to say, mini advantage really to Aras here at the moment, because all he has to do is match Kairan. And in fact, he can afford to drop a couple of points here and still have a lead after 3 ends. Good pressure and the best shooting so far from Evren Kairan. Well, Suleiman Aras does drop a single point in that 3rd end, but the scores are still in his favour. He will lead by 4 after this 3rd end. And I fancy that Kairan has found the middle of the target, but has he found it too late? Chris, really tricky for these archers. They haven't shot in anger, in inverted commas, of course, for quite some time. And it seems to me that Aras has found his groove a little bit quicker than Kairan.
Yeah, but we've seen Kairan on the world stage in Berlin last year. He defeated Mike Schlusser in a shoot-off for the gold. Fantastic archer. And in these windy conditions, all Aras has to do is kind of throw one a bit wide, and suddenly Kairan's back in this.
Yeah, it really is a funny game, archery. Simple, as I said, in concept, but sometimes the pressure gets to you, and sometimes there's a huge amount of pressure when you're in the lead. But you would rather be in that man's shoes. Suleiman Aras leading by 4, 88, plays 84 against Evren Kairan. Kairan will shoot first in the 4th end, and he needs a good first arrow. And that is a very, very good first arrow. Seems to have found the centre now, Kairan. Will that play on the mind of Arash? Well, that is a drop point. Well, getting better and better. Good grouping, but still a 9. And that's dropped into the 9. So another 29 for Evren Kairan. 28 is the best Arash can hope for, but he has to shoot a 10 here. And that's gone high. So an adjustment there from Arash. 3 9s and another couple of points back. As Chris predicted, it's possible to come back in these compound matches with the accumulative score. Chris, is Arash feeling the pressure from leading?
Yeah, when you're ahead in a match like this, you've just got to keep consistent, focus on maintaining that lead through the length of regulation, and it's not easy when you know someone's trying to chase you. Everyone's got nothing to lose here. He can really drive those arrows into the middle at the target 50 meters away, whereas Arash, any little mistake that'll cost him and give the chance for everyone to catch up. It's a mental game than anything.
It certainly is. Well, look, while they retrieve the arrows, Chris, the question on everyone's mind is, when are we going to get back to international competition archery?
Well, it's a deep question. It's a difficult question, especially with the travel restrictions still in place around the world. But this Conquest Cup is really a fantastic step forward for archery. They've held it relying on all of these kind of government restrictions. They've got a lot of health and safety protocols in place, but they're still managing to deliver some live archery and give these athletes an opportunity to shoot and compete.
And do you think this is the way forward, that we will start with regional tournaments before we get back to full international competition?
I think it's a possibility. I think it's one of the options that's being looked at, but I think it's too soon until we really know what is possible. I think it's too soon to predict how we can get back on the shooting range internationally, at least.
Well, we started this end with a 10 from Kairan. He's fought his way back into this competition. He looks like he's claimed another point back, trailing by 2 coming into this, and now down by just 1. I'll open the door for Arash to get that point back here. And again, needs a 10. And that's just what he's got. One of his best arrows so far. Another 29 from Evren Kairan. And that one has gone a little high. So it's a 28 and another point back from Kairan, Chris.
Yeah, but that should be enough to win the match for Arash with that last 9. An 8 would have kind of leveled things up, but a 9 was enough to win, and he's done enough.
Well, we wait for the agents to get down to the target end. Here we are. And there we see the final arrows there from Suleiman Arash. The 28 was enough. He did the damage early on. Couple of wide shots from Kairan. Oh, smile creeps across the face of Suleiman Arash. I think he knows he's done enough here to take the bronze medal. And there we go, confirmation that Suleiman Arash has taken the bronze medal in the compound men's event here. No handshakes, as you can imagine in these circumstances, but it is Arash with the bronze at the 8th Conquest Cup. Well, Chris, we take a look back at some of the highlights of that bronze medal match. Interesting times for both of these archers coming back onto the competition field. What's your take on how these archers are going to be able to cope with coming back to competition?
We spoke to a number of archers, and I've spoken to some in the course of writing some of the articles and the lockdown and knockout we've been hosting. And the kind of general consensus is it'll take 2 or 3 weeks for most archers to get in competition form. Many have maintained their practice throughout this period, but maintaining and really kind of peaking is a completely different thing. You know, you can shoot, you can keep that form going, you can keep that rhythm, but if you want to be at your best and really compete, it takes time. It takes time to get ready mentally and physically.
Yeah, mentally is the big thing for me, that the archers have good muscle memory and they know how to shoot their arrows, and practicing at home is one thing, but being on the field of play and shooting against an opponent live is the tricky thing. As we look across the beautiful city of Istanbul, we are actually right outside, reportedly the oldest archery centre in the world, with archery going back centuries here in Istanbul. Well, here we have the draw for the next competition. We will, of course, go to the bronze medal match against, it's between Kozkun and Basran. The 8th Conquest Cup is the first of the major tournaments, not a full international, unfortunately, this year for obvious reasons, but the competition has been deemed safe to hold here in Istanbul on the banks of the Bosphorus as we look across this quite spectacular city, the gateway between Europe and Asia. Unusual to see these scenes with the officials wearing masks. Even the coach there with his mask on. Archery does lend itself actually to sport with social distancing, with the archers standing side by side, but at least 2 meters apart.
What is very flexible, some regulations, procedures, applying with government. Every time the arrows are collected, they're actually disinfected on the way back. So I'm really wondering how that feels when they pick it up. Normal.
Well, apologies if you're getting some technical issues with the sound on Chris, but I'm sure he'll be back very soon. We're looking down the range here, 50 meters they shoot across here, and the target's being replaced from the previous match. And Chris, I think we've got you back.
If you're lucky.
Well, there you are. There you are. So I don't think we quite grabbed what you said in your last diatribe. So if you wouldn't mind repeating it.
Well, I was saying that when the arrows are collected, they're being disinfected on the way back to the targets. And on the way back to the archers. And I'm wondering how that feels. I'm wondering what the arrows feel like, if they're tacky, if they're sticky, or if it's just dried off by the time they get back to the quivers of the archers on the line.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point there. As you say, we look at Mete Gazos, one of the best young new talents in world archery. But all these interesting things, I mean, if you like, they are, it is a level playing field. Everyone has to deal with these new conditions the same as everybody else.
Yeah, and it's just comfort, isn't it? Normally we do things one way. We have a crowd. We have the ability to shake hands at the end of the match, at the start of the match. And at the moment we can't. And these guys are adjusting, and they've adjusted very, very fast to that condition in terms of organizing the event itself. And hopefully these archers really benefit from this opportunity to compete.
Yeah, well, we certainly are enjoying the opportunity to watch them compete as we get ready for our next bronze medal match. Well, Chris, I've noticed the bows are a little different here. What have we got coming up?
So we've moved to the recurve from the compound. We previously had 2 matches of compound bronze medal matches, and now we're in the recurve. So this is the Olympic style. Both these young ladies are part of the Turkish national squad, and the Turkish national squad, led by Göktürk, who's standing behind the archer on the right, has brought about 10 to 15 of its top archers from across Turkey in special COVID-safe transport to compete at this event alongside some archers from the local club there in Istanbul.
Well, here's the bronze medal match. It's Koskun versus Basharan. Shooting over 70 meters for recurve archery. And a 7 is the first score for Koskun. Looks like a solid 9 there for Basharan. Good grouping from Basharan.
Very fast shooting here.
Low, middle, and high from Koskun. One wide and left. That's an 8 by the looks of things. And at the end of all of that, it's 24 apiece after the first set. Now, Chris, I'm not going to start with talking about the longer distance, 70 meters. Let's just talk about the score to start with. How does the scoring system work in recurve archery?
It's a set system now, so it's not a cumulative score. We're talking about 3 arrows equaling 1 set, and the highest score in that set receives 2 set points. If they're tied, as they are in this set, at 24 points apiece, assuming the judge confirms those scores, they both receive 1 set point. First to 6 set points wins the match.
So, unlike compound archery, where you have a chance to get back because of the cumulative score, in this Olympic-style competition, each set, if you like, is almost like a different game. You can recover from a minor dip in form, if you like. Yeah,
and we saw Basharan just shoot a 6 there. She had an opportunity to win this set, but she hung it left, and she's allowed Gulnaz to get 1 point. But we start again. We start again from 0 in the second set. She has an opportunity to win that one. the results of this first set don't impact the second.
Well, they're just playing with the target on target number 1, probably something to do with the scoring system. As the archers wait all square. Chris, why is recurve archery the Olympic discipline?
That's a deep and meaningful question, Karen.
Well, I thought I'd challenge you on this Friday afternoon.
Well, recurve archery is really the development, the progression of traditional archery. Recurves, as we know it, kind of came around in the mid 20th century. Archery, when it was in the Olympics originally in 1908, 1920, they used what we would call traditional bows and arrows, and as those developed, they became recurves, and that's what got reintroduced to the games in 1972. Archery's been on the program now straight for nearly 50 years. And compound wasn't developed. Compound wasn't introduced to the World Championships until 1995. So, in the Olympic terms, where everything happens every 4 years, it's still quite young.
We'll start off the second set here, and Koshkin shooting first and shooting a 6, another wide arrow from her. And going over to the other side, I think that looks like a 6 as well. A little bit of correction there. Oh, now resetting. And that may have put her off. That's dropped into the black ring. And that is a big opportunity for Koshkin here. Finishing with an 8. Now 20 is the best that Basharan can hope for here. This set has gone. Looks like she's got an 8 there. And the set points will go to Koshkin in the second. A very strange set indeed, Chris.
The conditions are difficult. We can see the flags moving, and we can see the flags at the top of the targets. And we cut down to watch where the arrows land. They've changed direction. Previously, it was blowing very, very strong left to right. Now it's coming towards the archers. Tough conditions, especially for recurves.
Yeah, well, we see down at the target end, the agents going to retrieve the arrows once the target judge has confirmed the scores. There we have confirmation that Koshkin has taken the second set, gets the 2 set points and leads by 3 points to 1. Remember, the target score for the win is 6. Well, we're just waiting for the agents to come back with the arrows here. But it is Koshkin leading by the 3 set points to 1 after 2 sets. Target score of 6. And it will be Basharan who will shoot first in this third set on target 2. Good first arrow there from Basharan, putting the pressure on immediately, which is just what she needs to do. Little high, but still in the yellow. So getting a 9, but an opportunity for Koshkin to come back here. Just inside the 10 ring. So all square. This set comes down to this arrow from each archer. Another big opportunity here for Koshkin. Well, that looks like it's gone wide as well. Now, are we all square? Well, subject to a measure of Basharan's last arrow, currently marked as an 8, but that score could change. So we wait for the target judge to go and have a measure here on that third arrow. Chris, without meaning to sound flippant, the world has changed and things are different, but clearly we can bring live archery to the archery audience from afar. What is the need to carry on as we were before? What's going to change?
Well, for sure. I think all sports and all people can take some learnings from this. I mean, we've all had to adjust how we work remotely, and how we communicate with people. And what we're doing today, how we're adding this commentary completely remotely, taking a signal from a television station in Turkey. I mean, it's a huge step forward for us technically, and in terms of how we work with people. We need to take the best from it. We need to learn from it, and we need to apply that going forward.
Yeah, we certainly do. It's been a very challenging time for everyone around the world, and obviously our thoughts go out to everyone affected by the pandemic. But it's also an opportunity for us to look at what we're doing, and to be able to bring you this competition, I've got to say, is absolutely fantastic. The remote commentary is a new thing for all of us, and the technical wizardry that comes with it is certainly a challenge, but it does mean that you can see live sport for the first time in a long time. So that set was all square. The points were shared, but it's Koshkin is leading 4-2 as we start the next set with Ezgi Basharan. Great first arrow as well. That one is very, very close indeed. Marked as a 9, no asterisk, so no measure. But that one has gone wide from Basharan. You can see those flags in the background wavering. Another slightly wide one. So big opportunity here for Koshkin. A 9 will do it. Well, marked as an 8, so all square again. When Koshkin had the opportunity there, Chris, it looks like she didn't take it.
Not easy task in this windy conditions. We've seen the groups kind of come in and out, but she shot a good one there, all in the kind of middle area, nothing outside the 8 when it's windy. That's an achievement, especially in these conditions. Let's check if the judge measures that as called on the scoreboard. If so, we'll have a 5th and last set in this match.
Yeah, and Basharan is still very much in this, again, as you say, subject to the scores being confirmed, which it looks like they will be. If Basharan takes this set, well, no. Saying that, no, sorry, yes, the scores are level, 5-3. The scores were confirmed as 27 each. If Basharan takes this set, Chris, and gets the 2 points, gets the higher score over the next 3 arrows, we'll be all square after regulation sets, and we can expect a shoot-off, right?
We'll have a single arrow decider if it goes to 5-5, but this is do or die here for Basharan. Has to win this set to have a chance at the match.
Nervy times then for both of these archers. Koshkin had an opportunity in the last set to take the win. She needed a 9, but only got an 8. So, still leading 5-3. Koshkin will shoot second. It's over to Ezgi Basharan. Well, a wider arrow than the first arrow in the last 2 sets for Basharan. An opportunity for Koshkin here. Wow, looks like she's put that one even wider, an 8 on the scoreboard for her. Now it's an opportunity to try and level things up. A 10 will bring her level. But another wide one and another 8. Well, that's very wide, and this is a massive opportunity now for Gulnaz Koshkin. She had the opportunity in the last set. She didn't take it. Looks like she's taken this one, though. What a great final arrow from her, right in the middle of the target. It looks like she has got the 2 set points here. We will have a measure on the third arrow from Ezgi Bajaran. That needs to be marked up to an 8 if she's got any chance here. But even then, the scores will be level. So for me, Koshkin has taken the bronze medal here in the women's recurve at the 8th Conquest Cup. Chris, another very, very intriguing match.
Yeah, fantastic finish from Koshkin, that 10. No matter how the wind kind of plays its games back and forth in this one, she finished excellently. And that's what she'll take away. That's what she'll take away with the bronze medal.
Well, looks like they have confirmed the win there for Gulnaz Koshkin. It was a very, very intriguing match. There was an opportunity for Basharan in the 4th and 5th sets, but in the end, it's Koshkin with the bronze here in Istanbul. Well, Chris, an intriguing match there, I have to say. There were a couple of opportunities there for Basharan, but she didn't quite capitalise.
And that's modern archery. It's not just about shooting consistently, higher scores. It's about shooting the scores when it matters. We've seen some of the biggest international prizes not necessarily go to the most consistent archers, but the ones that can deliver under pressure.
Well, we wait for the next match in this 8th Conquest Cup. While we do, Chris, tell me, what's World Archery up to in this in these lockdown times?
Well, we've been trying to find new ways to engage with our community. We've been running the Lockdown Knockout. I've had the pleasure of spending time on the airwaves with you, Karim, for that. That's been quite a success for us. So we'll be returning with the recurve version of the Lockdown Knockout next month. We're also running some online summit days, some seminars. The first of those goes out this Sunday. And all the while, we're trying to think how we can get back to competition. Looking something like this, perhaps, working on the plans for the future and scheduling, working to schedule events again, and we can all get back to the shooting line.
Yeah, looking forward to that. But it's marvellous what World Archery have been doing over the last few months to stay engaged with the archery fans around the world. And like you say, the Lockdown Knockout proved to be a massive hit, didn't it?
Yeah, we had our challenges. We had our challenges with internet connections, but it was fantastic to watch some fantastic compound archers, 8 fantastic compound archers from different places in the world compete side by side as if they were in the same spot, except we had people shooting in kitchens, in archery ranges in their backyards, in safe lockdown settings. Still a fantastic competition there and a fantastic final when Sara Lopez beat Anders Fogstad from Norway.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? And Anders, well, he's proving to be a superstar in the making, that's for sure. But Sara Lopez was absolutely superb in that tournament and donated her prize winnings, gifted kindly by World Archery, to those working on the front line against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic thing to do from a fantastic archer. I mean, she's lost income this year. She makes her money from competing and winning, but she's had the opportunity to win something, and she's going to donate that to people that need it more than her. Fantastic job by Sara Lopez,
and a great opportunity as well to sort of. I don't want to use the term "get behind the bow," but a fantastic opportunity to actually get to know these archers, the 8 archers involved in the tournament.
Yeah, we don't normally get the opportunity to shoot, to talk to people while they're shooting, and I think that was a challenge for some, having your voice, going while they're trying to loose some arrows. But a fantastic opportunity to chat to some of them during the match, before the match, after the match, and really have a look at their personalities and their pets more than anything. The pets was the real winner.
It was a sort of dog-based challenge, wasn't it? It was great to see. And Sara Lopez, with the biggest menagerie of the lot, taking the biggest prize in that compound competition. And as Chris says, we've got a recurve competition coming up very soon. Sometime in the middle of June, we will begin the recurve lockdown knockout. But here we've got some live archery from Istanbul. The homeland, if you like, of the sport of archery. The oldest archery centre in the world is our backdrop for this 8th Conquest Cup. And coming up now, it's the men's recurve bronze medal match. And how young is he? We've got Mete Gazos going up against Berke Akunyan. And, well, he's a very young man, Mete Gazos, but even younger, Akunyan. Gazos to shoot first. Great first arrow there in these windy conditions. Signs of a bit of pressure here. You're on TV, young man, and you have a big opportunity here up against one of the big stars of world archery. Chris, Bere Akunyan has a massive opportunity, perhaps the first, to shoot live on TV and going out live to the world on World Archery's YouTube channel.
They must be very nervous. Mete is the poster boy for archery in Turkey. Fantastic young man, fantastic archer. It's a massive score. Surprised to see him here in the bronze medal match, but Berke's holding his own here. Big opportunity and big learning experience.
Well, a big win in that first set for Mete Gazos. He's used to these conditions, he's used to this pressure, but as Chris said, it's a massive opportunity and learning opportunity for Berke Akunyan, and well, struggling at the start, but we talked about the mental game. We talked about how archery is as much in the mind as it is in the body, perhaps even more so in the mind. Can Berke now just settle back and say, well, I really have got nothing to lose here?
It's a fantastic thing with the set system, isn't it? He's lost this first set, but those scores don't matter. Had an opportunity to settle some of his nerves, and Mete is a favourite in most matches he competes in, even at the international level. So, a domestic event like this, Berke's got really nothing to lose.
Now, Gazos there looking very relaxed, very calm. There is the logo for the world's oldest archery centre. Okulya Vakfi is the name of the centre. So trailing by the 2 set points after the first set, it will be Akunyan who will shoot first in this second set. Well, he's adjusted a little bit, but that one's gone right. So another big opportunity here for Gazos. Fast shooting, and that certainly looks like it's on the line, if not better, for Gazos. A little over adjustment. And that one has gone a little wide for Gazos. So opportunity bounds. And another one, it's gone back the other side this time. So Gazos will take this second set, and he takes it with a 9. And he's 4 set points up. Now, of course, in the set system, that means that Gazos can do this in 3 sets. 9 arrows in recurve archery is the minimum you can win in, and Gazos has a big opportunity to do that right now. Chris, pressure, do you think, for Berke?
Well, you'd hope he's seen as an opportunity. Mete has come here with part of the national team contingent competing. Berke is local to Istanbul, so having an opportunity to compete against the national team, especially in these weird times, fantastic for that young man.
That certainly is. As Chris said, the rather strange to see Mete Gazos in this bronze medal match, but of course he lost the semi-finals, and he will be looking to strike back and get a medal here. It's interesting as we look at this wide shot over Ocular Vakfi, the stadium that this tournament is being held next to. The streets are very quiet in Istanbul. There is still a level of lockdown in the city. We're still able to bring you this fabulous tournament. So Berke Akünyan is 4 set points down. He really has nothing to lose here, and he will shoot first in the third set. Well, another wide arrow from Akünyan, gets an 8. Really fast shooting from Gazos. That's better from the young man. Really good grouping. Pressure now on for Berke Akünyan. And another wide one from him. So big opportunity here. A 7 will do it. And it's in the 10. Mete Gazos, on his very brilliant form, takes the bronze medal in the recurve men's event here at the 8th Cup here in Istanbul. It was a fast match and fast shooting from Mete Gazos, but he has taken bronze in the Conquest Cup. Chris, Mete Gazos confirmed as winner now, 6 points to 0. But Berke Akünyan, what a great opportunity for him.
Yeah, it's not often that you get to shoot in such a fantastic finals arena like this. And it's on TV in Turkey. It's on TV across the country. People stuck at home at the moment, not much to watch. They've been this tournament on with the support of the government there. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, perhaps, for this young man.
Yeah, certainly is. But it is Mete Gazos that walks away with the bronze medal here at the Conquest Cup. He'll be on the podium just a little bit later on this evening. Well, there are no people in the audience. Those will be the archers who are involved in this tournament, and as you can see, keeping a safe distance from each other. The new normal. This is it. Welcome to it. It is peculiar, but it is live sport in the new world. As we look down at the guys disinfecting the targets, all the safety precautions have been put in place to make this tournament happen. It must look a little strange to you all, but it is the way that we can make this happen. Here is the draw as we come into the next match of this tournament. And we've got something, well, I was going to say unusual. It's not unusual. It's very traditional. Chris, what can we expect now as we look at the pictures that are perhaps giving us a clue of what to expect?
In Istanbul was founded really to promote kind of archery. They welcome all kinds of both styles, they welcome all disciplines. This traditional is really the backbeat. Have a live head. I'm very interested. I have no idea how this is, quite honest.
Well, sounds like Chris is having some technical issues with his sound. I'm sure we'll get him back as quickly as we can. But I think, as he was trying to say there, that we've got traditional archery now, and it is something a little different, something that you perhaps haven't seen before, but obviously a great pleasure for us to show you the origins of the sport of archery. No technical paraphernalia. These are the purest of the bows that can be shot in the modern day, and they were shot in the not so modern day. We're going to get a view of this the amazing roots of the sport of archery, the modern sport of archery, from the oldest archery center in the world here in Istanbul. And again, we have a look at the draw. We, of course, got the bronze medal match coming up first against it's Volkan Aslan, who's going up against Muaz Enal Tekin for the bronze medal here at the 8th Conquest Cup. And prepare yourselves for something that you perhaps haven't seen before. Now I'm going to take a bit of a risk here and see if we've got Chris back. Chris, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you perfectly again. Chris, I was trying to cover for you a little bit in terms of what we've got coming up here. Traditional archery, what can we expect right now?
Yeah, so this is what the foundation there in Istanbul really promotes. There's a huge traditional archery community, and actually on the field just to the left of where they're shooting, as we look at where they're shooting, they've got a couple of workshops where they have artisans making traditional bows, traditional arrows, and traditional pieces of leather goods using old methods. It's really fantastic. What's unusual, in my opinion, is that they're going to be shooting in a head-to-head match. Traditional archery is one thing, but taking a traditional bow and implementing that in a head-to-head match, just like the recurves, quite an exciting, quite an unusual thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I'll tell you what's interesting about this is that we've got traditional archery, you know, the archery, the roots of the modern sport of archery, but going on in these modern and very unusual times. I think maybe we've got a first. In fact, we've got traditional archery being shot with safety protection from the COVID-19 virus. And as you can see, a very unusual target, not what we're used to in modern archery. Chris, what can you tell us about the target?
So the targets there developed by the centre itself. They were been doing research into the traditional form of archery, the old forms of archery in Turkey. They've got a library with some very old books in there, and they've got a research centre that's been investigating all the sources that do remain to try and find out what the kind of Ottoman style of target of bow was and how it was used. So this field itself is supposed to have been the area in which the Ottomans camped when they invaded Constantinople in 1453, 83, one of the other. I can't remember exactly. And that's what this is kind of heralding back to. The targets they used for practice there, the bows, the style of shooting they used for practice there. So this target has been researched, developed, and reinvigorated by the archery centre there in Istanbul. Well,
I recommend that when you get asked that question again, you go with 15th century rather than a 30-year spread on the invasion of Constantinople by the Ottomans.
I was backing myself and I had doubts halfway through my sentence.
Unusual times call for unusual commentary, that is for sure. But here we are looking down at the arches. It is quite fascinating to me as a sort of a fan of the sport, but someone who knows not as much as you, which clearly is very little. But this really is quite fascinating, this traditional archery and what we're about to see.
Yeah, the way they pull the bow is quite cool as well. Instead of using the fingers, they use a kind of thumb hook, a thumb ring, and that attaches to the string, and they open their hands and they open their thumb to release the arrow. It makes it quite difficult to aim. There's a huge angle on the arrow coming out of the bow, and then this thumb ring changes the kind of flight direction as the string leaves the hand. So I'm really excited to see this.
Have you shot a traditional bow before?
Yes, I've shot a bow there in Istanbul at the centre. I wasn't very good at it.
And at what distance are they shooting over?
It looks like they'll be shooting 70 meters, maybe 80 even. I think their distances were a little longer than we shoot in the modern age. In fact, inside the centre, inside the archery centre there in Istanbul, there's some really cool rooms. And in some of those rooms, there's some practice bales, and one of the practice bales has the kind of target up on the ceiling, because the way they shoot long distance is kind of really an angle. The body goes really at kind of a 45-degree angle, and to practice that at short distance, they need the target up in the air. Very weird, very cool.
That is very interesting indeed. So for all you archery fans out there that haven't visited Istanbul, perhaps you have already. Ocular Vakfi is a wonderful place to go and have a look at. Really marvelous centre that gives you the full story right the way through from the traditional archery that comes from the 15th century and the Ottoman invasion of Constantinople, now Istanbul, right the way through to what we see today in modern archery on the world stage. So a little bit of preparation here for this traditional archery bronze medal match. And it looks like we're nearly there. We're nearly ready to go. And those unusual targets are ready to go. And it looks like we're ready for the archers to come out onto the field of play in their traditional dress. It is time for the bronze medal match in the traditional discipline of archery. Volkan Aslan against Muaz Ünaltekin. Let's go for bronze here in Istanbul. So quick shooting here. Now, Chris, these aren't usual captions for archery, not what we're used to these days. Can you explain what's going on?
Each archer will shoot 9 arrows, and it's a hit and miss system, basically. If they hit the target, they get a green mark. If they miss the target, they get a red mark.
It's a very quick draw and release, isn't it, from both of these archers?
Hugely fast, and those arrows that are missing the target downrange, well, not many of Muaz's arrows. They're impacting all of this construction behind. I wonder in what kind of state they'll get them back in.
Well, no rest, no technology. It is basic bow and arrow. It's what you do with your brother or sister in the garden. It is very, very basic stuff, but the accuracy from both of these archers is incredible. And Ünaltekin, the one who's performing most consistently at the moment, has shot 4 of his 6 arrows into the target. Another green for Aslan there. But he's now put this out of reach. Ünaltekin. Aslan can shoot freely. Super fast from both archers, but Ünaltekin has already taken this one. Aslan just going wide again. Well, there you have it. That is traditional archery. It's super fast. It's really, really quick. But Ünaltekin has taken the bronze medal here at the 8th Conquest Cup in Istanbul. What a fascinating discipline to watch. Very quick, but super nonetheless. Chris, you blink and you miss it.
I'm astonished. I'm astonished by Muaz's group and the bottom of that target. It's absolutely fantastic. I don't think I could do that at 5 meters with one of those bows. So to do that at 70 or 80 they're shooting at would be quite mind-blowing.
It is quite fascinating, quite incredible. I mean, I'd love to have a go at that. I mean, Muaz Ünaltekin made it look very easy. And you know, we talk about groupings in modern archery, but his grouping was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the arrows they all hit low and left in the target. It was, you know, kind of an 8-sized group. Fantastic stuff.
Incredible. So Muaz Ünaltekin takes the bronze medal in the traditional discipline here at the 8th Conquest Cup. Really, really fascinating to see, and an absolute pleasure to talk about, that's for sure. Who's going to follow that? Well, here we have it. It's the women's bronze medal match. It is, of course, the same discipline. It is traditional archery. And, well, as we say, blink and you'll miss it. This will be super quick as well. The losing semi-finalists will face each other for the bronze medal here in Istanbul. Now, of course, going to replace the targets. It's a little bit of modernity in the traditional discipline. A little insight into the history of the sport here. At a time when all of us have an opportunity to reflect, I think it is quite wonderful that we are getting a chance to see the roots and the heart of the modern Olympic sport of archery in perhaps the most historic city for the sport. And here we see it will be Akhan going up against Kerchi for this bronze medal, losing in the semi-finals to Ozkan and Eka, who we'll see a little bit later on in the gold medal match. Chris, how many countries is the traditional sport played or taken part in, and how many countries actually have competition in the traditional discipline?
Archery is ubiquitous with human evolution. Archery's been around in almost every country of the world, and every country has their own take on the sport. Obviously, through years of war and trade, there's similarities between bows and styles and techniques, particularly in regions. So the East, Turkey, all the way to China, they have similarities in that traditional approach, but it's very different to traditional archery in the UK, for example. We don't tend to get an opportunity to watch much traditional archery. World Archery was founded specifically to manage the international and Olympic side of the sport. So while we love traditional archery, it's not usually on our agenda. So pretty cool to have a watch.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it's interesting that some of the disciplines at the Olympic Games are based on sort of ancient or certainly older methods of war, archery being one of them, developed into this fantastic sport that we see around the world year on year in normal times. I'm trying to think of other sports that perhaps on the Olympic schedule that come from that. Perhaps fencing is one where before the advent of gunpowder, when traditional weapons were no longer used, well, that's where the sport of fencing comes from, and it's the same with archery. It's founded on a warcraft, now adapted for modern sport. And they're just replacing the targets as we get ready for the women's traditional bronze medal match. Takes a little bit of time for preparations for the traditional sport, but it looks like the athletes are ready to come out to shoot for bronze here at the 8th Conquest Cup. Now that one's gone low and off the target for Kechichi. Right in the center of the target. Looks like it's just gone out, but much closer to the target. Chris, the female archers take a little bit more time drawing, but the release is just as quick as the male athletes.
Yeah, and you can have a look at how they're drawing with that thumb on the string and that first index finger kind of closing the thumb. So it's the thumb that actually contacts the string. They're wearing a ring that helps protect their finger from the pressure of the string, which is not small, and that's closed by the index finger. And to release, what they do is they open the index finger, the thumb flies away, and the arrow goes down range.
Well, you can see the difficulty that Keçici's having. Good grouping from Akan. I'm no expert, but a lot of the arrows going low from Keçici. So this is now out of reach for Keçici. So it's all about pride now. Akan going low as well. Well, she hasn't hit the target once yet, Keçici. Akan's taken this one. Come on, Sena Keçici. Let's get the target. Just wide again. So no greens for Keçici. And Bezina Akan has taken the women's bronze medal here in the traditional discipline at the 8th Conquest Cup. Chris, a tricky one for Keçici, but Bezina Akan shot very, very well indeed, missing just 3 times.
That was very impressive. 6 arrows in, 5 hits, fantastic stuff. Had 2 go off late, but wow, really, really impressive. Difficult to be consistent. You haven't got any draw tech devices. You haven't got the technology of the modern bow. But those bows, those wooden bows they're using are really technologically advanced in themselves. They've got layers of wood and horn, making it very efficient, very, very powerful, and a lot of craft goes into creating that kind of equipment. She shot well, really well with it.
So Akan with the bronze medal in the women's traditional here at the 8th Conquest Cup. Don't go far. We'll be back for some gold medal matches, the gold medal matches of the 8th Conquest Cup here in Istanbul very soon.
Yasak şu an aktif açık. Bu şekilde ses geliyor mu?
Bu şekilde geliyor.
Kulaksız.
Tuşa basıp konuşuyorsun.
Volüm ev. Geliyor mu? Ben de diyorum.
Uzman abi. Ama sesi açardı. Yani kulaklık var da takamadım.
Şey yap, kulaklığını takamam.
Takacağım cebimde.
Kanal kaçtayız?
Bir de orası bir.
Ha? Yok kardeş, bundan sonra açık kalmadı. Sen burada kalın.
It's time for the gold medal matches here at the 8th Conquest Cup in Istanbul, where we're going to start with the women's compound event. Athletes just waiting in the wings. Targets have been replaced.
Yasemin Begüm Topkarcı'ya 142-140 geçti. Adını finale yazdırdı. Ayşe Bera Süzer'de Gizem Elma Ağaçlı'ya 141-138 ile geçti. O da ismini finale yazdırdı. Çeyrek finaller çok daha kolay oldu bu sporcular için. Yeşim Bostan Türk Milli Takımı'nın sporcusu. Ayşe Bera Süzer yine Türk Milli Takımı'nın sporcusu sevgili seyirciler. Birbirini yakından tanıyan iki isim karşı karşıya gelecek birazdan.
Ve birlikte çok güzel başarılar imza attılar. Birlikte Dünya Kupası şampiyonluğu gibi çok önemli dereceler kazandırdı ülkemize.
Dezenfekte çalışmaları tamamlandı. Sporcular artık
madalya atışlarına devam ediyoruz. Makaralı yay 6
Basın bayanlar. 1 numaralı hedefte Ayşe Bera Süzer, 2 numaralı hedefte Yeşim Bostan atış yapacak.
Well, here we go. Time for the gold medal match in the women's compound here in Istanbul at the 8th Conquest Cup.
Yarışmamızın hakemi milli hakem Bilge Özdinç.
It's been a while since we've seen
Hedefte Ayşe Bera Süzer.
live sport of any kind. But here at the Ocular Vakfi, the world's oldest archery centre, archery gets back underway. Usually an international tournament, but given the times, quite rightly, the organisers have just included archers from Turkey. It will be Ayşe Süzer against Yeşim Bostan, and it will be Süzer to shoot first. High, but in the 9.
Yeşim de 9 puanla başladığı ilk seriye. 10 puan geliyor Ayşe Bera Süzer'den.
Well, use the first one as a sighter, as all the archers do, and Süzer's put it into the 10 ring.
9 puanla karşılık
Bostan adjusted, got the height right, that's for sure, but just a little left. And a 10 will put Süzer into an unassailable lead in the first end. But she's put that one right, so Bostan with a 10 can draw level. And she puts it right in the middle of the target. We're all square. A cumulative score here, 15 arrows. And whoever has the highest score after those 15 arrows will take the gold medal at the 8th Conquest Cup. Chris, good shooting from both archers right at the start of this gold medal match. Well, apologies again for the technical difficulties we're having with Chris's sound. We are, of course, doing this tournament remotely in terms of commentary.
28, Yeşim Bostan 28.
Chris is in Lausanne, the home of Olympic sport. And I'm in the southwest of England. So we have some challenges with our technology, but the pictures seem to be good so far, if not the sound. All square after the first end. So it will be Süzer to shoot first again at the start of the second end. This for gold in the women's compound.
Geldi Ayşe'den ikinci seride. Puanla başladı Yeşim.
Mini advantage for Süzer here. Just dropped into the 8 by the looks of things. Good grouping from Bostan. And as you can see, Süzer's second arrow is subject to a measure. I fancy that is an 8, though. And correcting at the end. So a 10 required from Bostan to stay level. And a 10 it is. We're all square, subject to the measure of Souza's second arrow here. My feeling is that arrow is going to remain an 8, and I think we will remain all square at 28 apiece in the second end. They look down the Bosphorus, to the mouth of the Bosphorus here in Istanbul, as the agents go and check the arrows. The target judge is just confirming the scores. Dare I say it, Chris, are you there?
Maybe.
Oh, you are. You're back again. Wonderful news. Chris, very high scores, but just that second arrow from Souza just dropping into the 8 ring.
Yeah, both these archers are experienced on the international stage. They've been traveling and competing together for Turkey for some time. Bostan is the most experienced, or the more experienced of the two. She's climbed the podium at many international events, including the World Championships, I believe, but successful in Turkey for sure. She's got the experience to pull this one off.
Well, we are all square, and I tend to agree with Chris that Bostan is the one with the more experience, but it's Souza to shoot first in the third end.
9 puanla başladı Ayşe.
Bostan finding the middle of the target. Just a little bit of added pressure now for Ayşe Souza. Lovely response, though.
Bir 10 puan daha geliyor Yeşim Bostan'dan. Dokuz veya 8'le kapatıyor seriyi Ayşe.
So a chance here to take the lead. And that's in the 9. So she takes the lead by a single point, Yeşim Bostan. Chris, you said she's got the experience, and it looks like not only have her nerves settled, but she's also found the middle of the target.
Yeah, conditions seem to be improving. The wind seems to have died down. The flags in the back aren't as volatile as they were before. She can settle in. She can post some big scores through the back half of this match. That last arrow of that end just pushed a little high into the 9. You can see in the background there. 2 first shots were excellent. Third one just pushed a bit from the heel of the hand, a little bit above the 10 ring.
Well, there we see that 9 high in the yellow.
Üçüncü serinin sonunda 84 puanla Ayşe Berat Süzer.
Scores are confirmed, and it is Bostan that leads by a single point. There she is.
Puanla öne geçiyor bu serinin sonunda.
No, she'll be disappointed to be in the second position, but she's come through after 3, and she's leading this, and she will be very determined to take the gold medal here at this 8th Conquest Cup. Souza training will shoot first in the 4th. Great start. That's what she has to do. Just put some pressure on Bostan. Well, notionally, we're all square. Really nice grouping there from Souza. She's found the middle of the target herself. And will Bostan start to feel the pressure?
İkinci okunda da 10 puanla karşılık verdi Yeşim Bostan.
Well, just dropping low into the 9. So an opportunity for Bostan to maintain the lead. She needs a 10 to do so. She's put it into the 9, and we are all square again after 4 ends. One more end to go here, and there's nothing between these two athletes. Chris, will Bostan's experience play its part here in this final end?
Small margins in archery. She's just pushed one arrow low, one arrow to the left in that end, and that's lost her the advantage. It was that one arrow in the end before that just went high and out of the 10 ring. She's not shooting bad, but she hasn't got that kind of killer instinct right now. It looks like that'll win her this match. If she can pull it out, it's all to play for over these last 3 arrows.
Yeah, it certainly is. So 3 arrows first to decide this gold medal match. If they're all square after the 3 arrows, we will go to a 1 arrow shoot off. Can Bostan's experience play its part right now? Souza will shoot first in this 5th and final end of regulation play. It's all down to these 6 arrows between the 2 archers. Clipping the ring there. That may well go to a measure. It's marked as a 10. That's inside the 10 ring. Just a little bit of movement there from Souza. And it's pushed down into the 9 ring. So an opportunity now for Bostan. And she's put that into the 10 ring as well. So now pressure goes over to Souza. So a 10 will do it here for Yeşim Bostan. A little wince there. That's gone to the left by the looks of things, and it looks like we are all square. Now, I'm just wondering about that first arrow from Ayşe Souza. It was very, very close. It looked like it clipped the ring. Is it going to be marked as a 10, though, as we see on the scoreboard? If it is, we are all square. Well, the agent drawing the arrows out.
Serinin sonunda beraberlik bozulmadı. 142 puanla şut atışı yapılacak.
Well, we are indeed all square, and we will go to a shoot-off. They are replacing the targets, of course. Chris, that first arrow from Souza in that last end was questionable, but marked as a 10.
Yeah, the judges down at the target will check if the shaft of the arrow broke the line of the scoring ring. If it does, it gets marked up. If it does not, it remains the lower score. Critical markup in the last end, drawing the match live, match level, and sending this one to a single arrow shoot off. Both archers will now shoot 1, and the arrow that lands closest to the middle will win the match.
Well, there we go. Great view there of Ocular Vakfi, the traditional centre here in Istanbul. The range just outside the centre, where you can see all of the weird and wonderful things of the history of archery. Istanbul is a great city to visit. But if you're an archery fan, there's something very special right in the middle and right on the banks of the Bosphorus. Well, they are ready for this shoot-off now. Women's compound gold to be decided with a 1-arrow shoot-off, and Aisha Souza will shoot first. Great first shot in the X ring. Pressure on Bostan. Gone left and into the 9.
Bu durumda kazanan Ayşe Bera Süzer.
And it looks like the two have already concluded it. A round of applause from Yeşim Bostan. And it's Aisha Souza who takes the gold here in Istanbul. Chris, a great arrow from Souza to start the shoot-off.
Yeah, she chose to shoot first at the start of the match, or she shot first at the start of the match, and it's a real advantage in a shoot-off where you haven't got the pressure of knowing where the other person's arrow already has landed. You can just stand up there and deliver the best shot you can, try and get the best score you can. She did that. She did that very, very well, and Yeşim didn't have much room for error.
Well, she didn't indeed. And it is Aisha Souza who takes gold here. The first gold medal in the 8th Conquest Cup in Istanbul. Well, great views over the city of Istanbul, a gateway between Asia and Europe, and the home of our first live coverage for several months of archery on a range as we know it.
Orta Asya'dan Balkan ilden. Alparslan'dan Fatih'e. Malazgirt'ten Edirne'ye. Yürür okçular. Ya hak diye. Destur. Taife-i Pirandezan. Nazariyete. Ya hak.
Well, we got the gold medal match in the men's compound coming up. It's Kiichi against Oruç. 4 gold, having come through more notable, I suppose, opponents in the semi-finals, Kairan and Arash. The targets look like they have been replaced down the 50-meter range. It's been a little blustery here in Istanbul, but the archers have found their way to the middle of the target time and time again. You can see the range there on this beautiful wide shot. That's a 10-12 minute walk from the banks of the Bosphorus in this quite spectacular city. As I said, the conditions have been a little blustery, but they have settled a little. So we're expecting some big scores in the coming matches. A huge effort's gone into making this tournament happen. It may be a little unusual to see some of the scenes we're seeing, people wearing masks and guys coming out in hazmat suits, disinfecting the target in between matches. But these are all of the precautions that are being taken in order for this tournament to happen. And I think it's something that we are all going to have to get used to if we are to see live sport return to our screens. And then there are the athletes waiting in the wings to come out.
Yarışmaya makaralı erkeklerin altın madalya atışıyla devam ediyoruz. Birinci hedefte Furkan Oruç, ikinci hedefte Ege Kıyıcı atacak. Sporcuları sahneye davet ediyorum.
Evet, sporcuları tekrar ediyorum. 1 numaralı hedefte Ege Kıyıcı, 2 numaralı hedefte Furkan Oruç. Madalya atışı için ilk atışı Furkan Oruç yapacak. Yarışma hakeminin İstanbul bölgesinden Tutkun Erdoğan.
Here we go. It's time for gold here in the men's compound at the 8th Conquest Cup in Istanbul. On target 2, it's Furkan Oruç who will shoot first. Straight into the 10 ring. Ege Kıyıcı, his opponent, just pushes it into the 9 and our gold medal match is underway.
9 puan attı Ege ilk okunda. 10 veya 9 puan geliyor ikinci okunda Furkan'dan. 10 puan geldi Ege'den.
Well, the second arrow for Oruç is going to be measured. It's marked as a 9 for now. And that one has gone into the 9 as well. So a 28, potentially a 29. That looks like it's just clipped the ring, the 10, but also on a measure. So one arrow from each archer in the first end, subject to the target judge's decision. Currently 28 apiece. Target judge has already reviewed Ege Kıyıcı's target. third arrow just low and left. And Furkan Oric, second arrow just to the right of the 10 ring. Wait for confirmation of the scores.
Beraberlik oluyor.
And they've both been confirmed as 9s. And we're all square at the end of the first end. Kiichi versus Oric for gold here in Istanbul. Oric will shoot first at the start of the second end with the scores tied.
Furkan 9 puanla başlıyor ilk okuna.
Well, it was low from Oric to start with, but that one's gone even wider. It is marked for a measure, but I think that is in the 8 for Kiichi.
X geldi Furkan'dan. Ege 10 puanla karşılık veriyor.
Bit of a longer hold there, and that's gone high. I think it's still going to be a 9. And that's gone into the 9 ring as well. So it looks like Oric has just taken a 1-point lead, but Kiichi's first arrow will go to a measure. We didn't see anything changing after the measure in the first end. I suspect that will remain an 8 as well. Well, it has been marked up to a 9 for Kiichi. And again, both archers shooting a 28 as they did in the first end, and they are still all square at 56 apiece. Oric will shoot first at the start of the third end with the scores remaining level.
Puanla başlıyor Furkan. Dokuz puanla karşılık verdi Ege. X geliyor ikinci okunda Furkan Oruç'tan.
Well, that one's gone wide as well. Another 9 for Kiichi. Oric can put this end out of reach with a 10. Let's just drop that into the 9. So Kiichi needs a 10 to minimize the damage here. Quick release, and that's gone into the 9 as well. So a 27 for Kiichi, and Oric is the one that wrestles the lead away.
Hakemlerimiz kontrolleri son.
85 plays 83 once those scores have been added up. Just waiting for the target judge just to confirm things, but I don't think anything's going to change there. And it is Orich who is going to have a 2-point lead going into the fourth end here. Drooping wasn't bad from Kiichi, that's for sure. If you just bring them just a little higher, he will start hitting 10s. But Orich is the one who has the lead. Kiichi gets us underway, and that's gone into the 8 ring. Pressure on him. Orich now just has to match his opponent to stay in the lead, and that's a solid 9. A 9 for Kiichi.
Puan geliyor Furkan Oruç'tan.
Clipping the ring for the 10 line. I think that will get marked as a 10. So a 27 for Ege Kiichi. Can Furkan Orich get another 2 points ahead by shooting a 10?
Furkan Oruç 10 puanla seriyi tamamlıyor.
Well, it looks to be another 2-point lead for Furkan Orich. Ege Kiichi's first arrow is going to be subject to a measure, and I still think that's going to remain an 8. And Furkan goes 4 points up if that's the case, going in to the 5th and final end. Well, they've been very quick on the measures here, and it looks like that one has been decided already. We wait for confirmation on our scoreboard.
Dördüncü serinin sonunda Ege Kıyıcı 110 puana ulaşıyor. Furkan Oruç 114 puanla.
And it is indeed an 8 for Ege Kiichi, and he now trails by 4 going into the 5th and final end. And it will be Ege Kiichi who will shoot first.
Kıyıcı başlayacak.
He's got a mountain to climb here. 4 points the difference. Can he claw them back? He needs a good first arrow. That is a great arrow as well, right in the X ring.
Furkan da X'le karşılık
Well, just a little twinge there at the end, but got a 10. And that gap seems ever wider now.
Ege'den 10 puan geldi.
Another good arrow from Kiichi. But now he's relying on Orich to make a mistake.
9 puan geldi ikinci okunda Furkan'dan.
A measured 9, but still room to maneuver. Kiichi needs another 10 to finish off, and looks like he's just about got that. A perfect 30 for Kiichi to finish the match off. But he needs a big miss here from Furkan Orich. Another 9. It looks like the second one is definitely a 9 as well, but that doesn't matter. He was leading by 4 despite dropping 2 points in the 5th end. Furkan Oric has taken the gold here at the 8th Conquest Cup in the men's compound division. We will, of course, have a measure for that second arrow from Oric, but it matters not. And there is confirmation. Furkan Oric has taken the gold medal here in Istanbul. Well, there we have it. The athletes leave the shooting line. Furkan Oric has taken gold in the men's compound. Don't go far. The women's recurve gold medal match is coming up very shortly. They'll rearrange the range, moving it from 50 meters to 70 meters, and then we will resume our coverage with the women's recurve gold medal match. And there are the athletes.
Evet, ilk atışa Zeynep Köse başlayacak. Yarışma hakemimiz Milli Hakem Fatih Güven.
It's time to go for gold here in the women's recurve at the 8th Conquest Cup in Istanbul. The range is ready. The archers are ready. Let's get to shooting. Asya Karatayli starting on target 1 will shoot second. Zeynep Köse shoots a 10 to get things underway. Karatayli shooting an 8. That's an 8 for Köse as well. So an immediate opportunity to get back on level terms. Correction, just moving it over to the right. And remember, we're working on a set system here. So a 26 means Karatayli needs a 10 here to share the set points. And that's another 8. So the first 2 set points go to Zeynep Köse. Recurve archery. We shoot 6 arrows per set, 3 per archer. And whoever gets the highest score gets 2 set points. If they are all square after the 3 arrows each, they share the set points, 1 apiece. The idea is to get to 6 set points to win the match. Asya Karatayli shooting 3 8s in the first. She'll be a bit disappointed with that, but don't forget they're shooting over 70 meters, so still not a bad score. But she trails by 2 points.
Birinci serinin sonunda Zeynep Köse 26 puan, Asya Karataylı 24 puan atarak Zeynep 2 puan alıyor. İkinci seriye Asya Karataylı başlayacak.
So Asya Karatayli will shoot first for the second set.
9 veya 8 puan geliyor Asya'dan. Puanla karşılık verdi Zeynep. Puan geliyor ikinci okunda Asya'da.
Well, that's dropped into the 7. Massive opportunity for Zeynep after the first 8 she shot. That also looks like it's an 8. So all square, subject to the first arrow from Karatayli being measured. That looks like it's clipped the 8 as well. So still an opportunity now for Köse to take a 4-point lead. She needs a 9 or more. It's a solid 9. Now it all comes down to the measure on that first arrow for Karatayli. If it's marked up to a 10, they're all square in the set and the points will be shared 3-1 in Köse's favour. If it remains a 9, it will be 4-0 as the scoreboard is showing right now to Zeynep Köse. Now, it looks like that has been confirmed. That first arrow from Karatayli marked as a 9. Target judge still having a good look at these arrows.
serinin sonunda
So Kose's agent is removing the arrows from the target.
25 puanla Zeynep Köse 2 puan daha alıyor.
And it looks like confirmation that Zeynep Kose leads by 4 set points to 0. So that 9 must have remained a 9 for Ayşe Karataylı. And she will shoot first in the third. A crucial end for her. She must at least match her opponent to stay in this gold medal match. Well, she's pushed that wide and it looks like it's into the 6th ring. Big opportunity now for Zeynep Kose to put some serious pressure on her opponent. And she's put it right in the middle of the target. Good response from Karataylı. Looks like it's gone into the 8 ring. Marked as a 9 for now. Oh, that's gone very wide indeed. Is that a 4? It is a 4. So Kose just needs to hit the target. And she's put that into the 7 ring, but it's more than enough for her. 26 plays 20 in the 3rd set. And it will be 6 set points to 0. Zeynep Kose takes the women's recurve gold medal here at the Conquest Cup in Istanbul.
serinin sonunda Asya Karataylı 20 puan.
They're just looking at the targets, but we do have confirmation.
Altın madalyanın sahibi oluyor. İki sporcuyu da tebrik
A 6 love win for Zeynep Kose. She is the champion of the Conquest Cup 2020. Well, they will replace the targets again here in Istanbul, outside Ocular Vakfi, the famous archery centre here in this beautiful city. Coming up very shortly, it's the men's recurve gold medal match.
Klasik yay erkekler altın madalya atışında Samet Ak 2 numaralı hedefte Ulaş Berkim Tümer atacak. Sporcuları sahneye davet ediyorum. Atışa Samet Ak başlayacak. Yarışmamızın hakemi uluslararası hakem Gürcan Tarhan.
Well, it's time to go for gold here in the men's recurve final. A great start. It's Samet Ak going up against Ulaş Tümer. Ak getting us underway with a 9. And that's matched by Tümer.
Puan geldi Samet'ten.
Well, both archers shooting left and right of centre, but both level of 18 apiece. Samet Ak goes high and right this time, so a 27 for him. And that one has gone a little bit wide. And it's first points to Samet Ak. Straight arrow from Ulaş Tümer at the end, going all the way into the 5 ring. So it's 2 set points to love in favour of Samet Ak. Well, we've had confirmation here of the scores. That straight arrow from Ulaş Berkim Tümer going into the 5 ring at the end of the first set. Well, it put him way out of contention for the set points. Samet Ak gets off to a great start. It will be Tümer who will shoot first in the second set, trailing, and he needs a good first arrow, not just to get back into the match, but to settle his nerves. So Samet Ak with the lead. Wait for his opponent to shoot first. It's the start of the second set here in the gold medal match. Men's recurve discipline at the 8th Conquest Cup in Istanbul. Good first arrow. The release was good, but it's just trickled into the 7. And that's a 9 for Ak. Tümer needs to settle down. It's another one. The release is looking good. He looks like everything's going well, but everything's going high and right. Samet Ak not happy with that one. Correction made from Tümer. A 24, though, is a very gettable target for Samet Ak. He's pushed that one as well, but it's enough. It's only 25, but it's enough to take the second set and to take a 4-0 lead for Samet Ak. Some stray arrows there. I fear that Ulaş was shooting well, but just got his aim wrong at the start, corrected it, got into the 10, and he needs to bring those 10s to the third set. He trails by 4 set points to 0.
İkinci serinin sonunda Samet Ak 25 puan, Ulaş Berkim Tümer 24 puanla, Samet Ak 2 puan daha alarak durumu 4-0 yapıyor.
Well, the agent's retrieving the arrows from the target, and Ulaş Berkim Tümer there looking a little bit bemused. He needs to comfort himself that Samet Ak only scored a 25 in that last set, but he needs to get off to a good start here in the third set. He trails by 4 points. And another one high and right, and I fancy that's a 7. It's gone high, but it's in the 9.
Puanla karşılık verdi Samet Ak.
Confidence must be growing for Samet Ak. Tümer needs to block this out, but again, it's gone right.
Baştan 8 puan geldi Samet'ten.
And that's ended up in the 8 ring, but it's still enough. Quick release and back into the 10 ring. Same score as the last set, but Samet Ak can do it here. Right in the middle, a brilliant finish from Samet Ak. He scores a 27 in the third and decisive set, and he takes the gold medal here in the men's recurve at the 8th Conquest Cup. He is the champion in Istanbul. And of course, they will go and look at the arrows, double check the scores, but both archers know, the coaches know, and everyone else knows that Samet Ak has taken the gold medal here in the men's recurve at the Conquest Cup of 2020.
Puanla Ulaş Berkim Tümer 24 puanla seriyi tamamlıyor ve altın madalyanın sahibi.
And there is confirmation that Samet Ak is the champion here in 2020. A round of applause from his opponent, Tümer. Samet Ak did it in 9 arrows. He is the gold medalist here at the 8th Conquest Cup. Well, thank you for joining us for this first live coverage of real archery in the new normal. We hope you enjoyed our coverage, and we hope you join us very soon when we'll be back for more of the same. Thanks again.